All right, we're going to do a new yoga session today. We're going to work up to a peak pose called a big hand to toe, and it is a balance pose. So we're going to learn to find a little balance today in this practice. So let's go ahead and get on the mat, and we're going to start with some seated breathing. All right, go ahead and find a comfortable position. I like easy pose. You can also call it crisscross applesauce. Just make sure that your sit bones are on the mat. That's that bony part of your butt. And you want those to be solidly on the mat. And just place your hands on your knees. Roll those shoulders down and back. Make sure your chin is parallel to the ground. And you can go ahead and close your eyes. And we're just going to do a few seated deep breaths. So inhale. Hold at the top, and exhale. Inhale, hold at the top, and exhale. And while we're here breathing, inhale, I want you to take a moment to consider your intentions for today's practice. Exhale. And by intention, I mean finding something positive to focus on. Finding something that you really want to find some hopeful change with in your life. So if you're looking for more passion around things, if you're looking for more forgiveness, if you're looking for more peace, if you're looking to just love more, think about what that might be. If you're looking to give yourself grace, and use that to really focus on during your practice today. Grace and peace are two of my big ones. Giving myself grace to, I'm going to use the word fail in air quotes, but to try new things and maybe not be perfect, and giving myself the grace to keep trying and not quitting because I didn't do something 100% perfectly. And then peace, because there's just chaos in all our lives. So having a moment for peace is always perfection. All right, so let's go ahead and do some stretching. So I want you to take your left hand and put it face down on the mat. As you inhale, I want you to bring that right hand up and over and get a really good side stretch. Make sure you keep your right glute on the mat. You don't want that to come up or you'll minimize this stretch. Go ahead and inhale, bring both hands to the center. And as you exhale, go over to the right and get a stretch on the opposite side. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale over to the right. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale over to, nope, this is the right, that was the left. And inhale, back to the center. Exhale, arms down. All right, I want you to bring your hands back to your knees, and we're just going to do a seated twist in easy pose. So take your left hand, put it on your right knee. Inhale. Sitting up tall, spine tall. Bring your right hand behind you, and as you exhale, I want you to slowly twist and look behind you. And just sit here for a moment, sitting up tall. Getting a nice twist in that spine. Go ahead on your inhale, come back to center. And then let's go to the left side. So right hand on your left knee, left hand reaching towards the back. Inhale, sitting up tall. And as you exhale, just lean into that twist. focusing on your intention. And on an inhale, come back to center. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a seated forward fold, and this is going to be our first one. We really want to stretch out our hamstrings so that we can get into that pose that we're working up towards, that hand to toe pose. So if you have a strap or a towel, this will come in handy. So I'm going to go ahead and loop it around my feet. And I want to sit straight up. So again, sit bones important that they're on the mat. Sitting up tall, inhaling. And as you exhale, slowly pull forward. If you've worked with me before, you know that you want your belly to come to your thighs. You don't want your head's not the objective in this pose. To get a really good stretch, you want your belly to come towards your thighs. Your knees can have a gentle bend in them. That's perfectly fine. On each inhale, I want you to add some space into your spine. And on the exhale, I want you to just go a little deeper into the stretch. You're really going to feel it in your hamstrings, maybe through your glutes. Keep the tension out of your neck, shoulders away from your ears. One more big breath. All right, let's go ahead and release that, and we'll just roll on up. And all I want you to do is slowly roll back down onto your back on the mat. If you have your strap, I want you to continue to use it. We are going to do a reclining hand to toe hold. So you could just use your fingers, right? Bring your left foot up and wrap your peace fingers around your big toe, and then straighten that leg out. Or if you're not as flexible, use your strap to hold that leg up and really get a good stretch on your hamstring. Your right leg, which is bent right now, go ahead and straighten that out, keeping your lower back on the mat. And breathe into that. Sometimes I like to put my hand on my belly just to feel the deep breaths and make sure I'm breathing very deeply. Shallow breaths will not fill up your belly when you inhale. Go ahead and just give it a gentle pull. You can also use the back, not behind your knee, but you could use behind your thigh or over your calf if you want to use that to pull too. There's various different ways you can do it if you don't have a strap to modify. All right, so on your exhale, bring that knee down. Take your strap off. Bring up your right leg. Wrap your strap around that. Go ahead and put that up tall. Left leg down on the mat. Lower back on the mat. And gently breathe into this stretch. Giving it gentle pulls on every exhale. Inhale. And exhale, sink deeper into the pose. Last breath. Go ahead and take that strap off. You can set it to the side. So I want you to roll over to your side, and we're going to just push up, and we're going to come over into tabletop position, and we're going to do some cat-cow. So make sure that your shoulders are stacked over your wrist and that your hips stacked over your knees, and your knees are hip width apart, and the tops of your feet are on the mat, And I want you to tip your tailbone up towards the sky. As you do that, I want you to inhale and arch that back. And as you exhale in a cat, make your back into a C, bringing your belly button to your spine, and really rounding those shoulders, pushing up through your hands. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Very good. So now all I want you to do is I've moved my hands out a little bit because I'm going to tuck those toes and I'm going to come up in a downward facing dog for the first down dog of the day. So if you want to, walk the dog a little bit, stretch out those calves, a little more stretch for your hamstrings. And now I want you to bend those knees and walk those feet up to the top of the mat. Keep them hip width apart. And just slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae until you're completely standing. We're going to do our first sun salutation of the day. I want you to inhale, reach those arms wide and high. Exhale, I want you to swan dive into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift, bring those shoulder blades down your back. Knees gently bent, just gently. Forward fold. Place those palms next to your feet. Step back into plank. Make sure those shoulders are over those wrists. Feel free to adjust. That's perfectly fine to adjust. Keep that core held in tight. Those glutes held in. Those glutes activated. Those thighs activated. I find is if I activate all my muscles in my legs, that this plank is much easier to hold. And when you're ready, bring those elbows into your ribs and slowly lower. And then push up into cobra. And then tuck those toes back into downward facing dog. Just here for a breath or two. Bend those knees, step back up to the front of the mat, feet hip width apart. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, leading the head all the way back up to top. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, arms wide and high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Place those palms next to your feet. Step back into plank. Find your plank. And just for a second, I want you to roll out on the right into a side plank. Hold that. Hold that hip up, like a string's pulling it up. Come back to the center of that plank. Take a breath. And then I want you to roll out on the left side into a side plank. Put your knee down if you need a little extra support. Have that string pulling up that hip. Come back to the center in your plank. Hold that for a second. And then bring those elbows in and slowly, 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 slowly lower Chaturanga Dandasana up into Cobra Pose. Tuck those toes back into Downward Facing Dog. Let's go into some warrior poses. Right leg up and through. Back foot down perpendicular to your front foot. Coming up just in your clothing. Shoulders facing forward. Down away from your ears into Warrior One. Couple breaths here. And out into Warrior Two. Looking out over those front fingers. Sinking a little bit lower into that lunge. Back into Reverse Warrior. Tucking that hand behind in the small of your back. I'm really using your abs to support you in this bend. And then I want you to come back into warrior two, just for a second, but we're going to go into extended side angle. Modification is your arm on your thigh. Extended side angle, down to the floor. Come on back up into warrior two. And then I want you to cartwheel down, hands framing that front foot, kicking back into plank, pulling those elbows in, slowly lowering chaturanga dandasana. Inhaling into cobra. Tuck those toes back into down dog. Bring that left foot up and through. Back foot perpendicular to your front foot. Come on up. Into warrior one. Making sure that back leg is active and sealing off towards the back of the mat. Come out into warrior two, looking out over those front fingers. See if you can go a little bit deeper in your lunge. Back into reverse warrior, tucking that right arm behind your back. Stretching back out. It's almost a little back bend here. Back into warrior two for a second. And then we go down into extended side angle, placing our hand down by our foot. And opening that chest and twisting out. Hand up to the sky. Come on back up to warrior two. And then we're going to cartwheel down, hands framing foot. Kicking that left foot back into plank, tucking in those elbows and slowly lowering chaturanga dandasana. Inhaling into cobra. All right, now we're going to tuck those toes, come in downward facing dog. We're going to walk those feet up to your hands and slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Now, I want you to come to the center of your mat, and we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold. So go ahead and bring your legs out wide. Feet are parallel to one another. Micro bend in your knees, shoulders down and back, hands on your hips. And we are going to hinge from our hips as we slowly bend forward. Again, using your hips, not your back. When you get halfway, go ahead and sit here for a second. Take a deep breath, and then let your hands fall forward into the pose. Giving your hands some support into this pose, but you should feel an intense stretch in your hamstrings. Continue to breathe. Now I want you to take your left hand, bring it over to your right ankle, and I want you to give a gentle twist in this forward fold. It'll make it a little more intense. But we need that stretch to get into this hand to big toe pose. Go ahead on an inhale, come back to center. And on an exhale, bring that right hand around your left, right behind your left ankle, and gently twist. Make sure you have that micro bend in your knees. And go ahead and release. And now, I want you to just bring your hands up to your hips, micro bend in those knees, and using your glutes and your hammies, slowly bring yourself back up to standing. Very good. Now, let's bring our feet together, You're about hip width apart. What I want you to do here is we're going to do a knee to chest pose. So I want you, and we're going to start with our right knee to our chest. On your left foot, and you might want to rock back and forth a little bit. You want to make sure that your foot is completely grounded on the mat from heel to toes and the mounds of your toes as well. So my left foot's pretty well grounded. My toes are spread. I'm inhaling, and on an exhale, I'm going to bring up that right knee to my chest. Hands around my knee. And breathe. Shoulders down and back. Core held in tight, really tight. It's going to help stabilize you. And make sure that the thigh muscles of your left leg are engaged. If they're engaged and they're active and they're tight, they're going to help support you better. Woo! Woo! All right, one more big breath. Go ahead and drop that right leg gently. Okay, now here it is. Drum roll please, the big pose. So make sure that that left foot's grounded. Find a focal point. That helps a lot. I was not looking at a focal point. That's why I was a little breezy a second ago. So once you find your balance, find your focal point, I want you to bring that right leg back up again, and this time with your peace fingers, I want you to wrap them around your big toe. If you have a strap, you can use your strap too, because we're not always super flexible. Left hand on your hip. And when you're ready and you feel balanced, go ahead and straighten that right leg out. If you want to, you can move it towards the side, out to the side, or just keep it in front of you. Perfectly fine. Last big breath. And bring that knee back in. Woo. And lower it. Good job. All right, let's do it on the right side. We got this. Okay. Find that sweet spot where our foot is grounded to the mat. Toes are spread. Inhale. And on your exhale, just bring up your knee. Knee to chest. Knee to chest. Foot flexed. Knee to chest. Find your focal point. You're basically practicing for the next pose. Open up that chest. Stand proud. Remember that intention you had at the beginning. Be that. Last big breath. And go ahead and release. All right, are you ready? All right, here we go. Make sure you're grounded. Inhale. And bring up that leg. Peace fingers around your toe. Hands on hip. Opposite hand on hip. Can't do both at the same time. And when you're ready, and you have your focal point in your balance, go ahead and extend. You could use a wall if you need a wall. There's many ways to do this. We already did it lying down. One more big breath. Bring that knee in. Go ahead and let it down. Good job! I'm proud of you. Alright, let's go back to the front of the mat. We're going to hit a chair pose here, so feet hip width apart. Inhale, bring those arms back. And then exhale, I want you to just push that booty back like you're sitting down. Arms up, framing your ears. Your toes should be able to wiggle. You should have your weight pushed back a little bit towards the back of your feet. Your knees should not be past your toes. They should be stacked over your ankles. Last big breath here.
On your exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Frame those hands. Step back into plank. Then get your last plank of the day. Be happy about that. Elbows in. Slowly lower chaturanga. Get the most out of this push-up. As slow as you can. And then push up into cobra. Tuck those toes back into downward facing dog. Enjoy this. Deep breath. Then I want you to bring your knees out in a wide-legged child's pose. Pushing those glutes back towards your feet. Forehead to mat. And then I like to walk my fingers out of here to get a really good stretch in my lats. All right. So let's go ahead, come back up into tabletop, and just swing those legs around. A few more poses here. So bring the bottoms or the soles of your feet together. We're going to go into bound angle pose. Get those sit bones solidly on the mat, pushing down actively with your inner thighs. We're going to do a gentle twist like we did earlier in the seated position. We're going to bring our right hand behind us, our left hand on our right knee. Inhale, sit tall. And as you exhale, twist a little. Remember, keep those legs active. Keep them active, pushing down, getting a nice stretch from those inner thighs. Pushing those heels against each other. And then you're gently twisting, getting a nice stretch for your spine. You're doing so much in this pose right now. All right, come back to center. Let's go to the opposite side. Inhaling in, left hand back, right hand on left knee. And as you exhale, twist. Keeping those legs active, pushing them down. Soles pushing against one another. Right hand pushing you towards the back, getting a nice stretch in your back. Oh yeah, and your core held in tight. How about that? All right, come back to center. The next pose we're going to do is called cow face pose. And this is a fun one. You're going to be all bendy and twisty and pretzel-y. So I want you to take your left leg and cross it in front of you. I want you to take your right leg and cross it over that as well. Your feet are going to be flexed. And you want to aim, this will be challenging for some of us, for your knees to be stacked over one another, okay? You can feel it. I'll tell you, I feel it in the outside of my glutes. Now that our legs are crossed and our feet are flexed, we want to cross our arms. We're going to do eagle arms here. If you're bigger chested, it's going to be more challenging for you, so you can just keep your arms up. But I am going to cross mine. I'm going to take my right under my left and cross in front of me, keeping them up at a 45-degree angle in front of my face. It's going to get a really nice stretch in my upper back. It'll be a nice stretch for your upper back as well, especially if you're over a desk or a computer most of the day. With these arms, it's a great stretch for them. One more big breath here. In fact, this entire thing, I'm going to unwind. This entire pose is an amazing stretch if you're seated all day. So let's unwind and re-pretzel. This one we're going to put our right leg on the bottom and bring our left leg over the top. Feet flexed, trying to get those knees to stack over one another. If you can't get there, that's fine. We all have different levels of flexibility and it takes time. And then our arms. So this time my left is going to go underneath. And then pull those babies up so they're at a 45-degree angle. Basically my triceps are parallel to the ground. Continue to breathe. This is an intense stretch. This is so good though. All right, go ahead and unwind. You feel the stretch, like you're like a little like rubber bandy now that you've done that. All right, come back in easy pose. Drop those shoulders down and back. Ooh. Make sure your chin's parallel to the ground. Close your eyes for a second. I want you to take 3 really big, deep breaths. In and out through your nose. And smile. You just did a wonderful thing for yourself by taking the time out of the day to do some yoga and come practice with me. And I thank you for doing that, and your body thanks you for doing that. So until next time I see you on the mat. Namaste. Take care, and I will see you soon. See ya.